Let's kill that bass head. Alright, let's do this.
I'm on the air, we got this pockets flow. It's me and Tony on the mics, we gotta let you know of current events, little gaming, sprinkle in some entertainment. We stay humble, but our moms still think we're famous. Turn up the bass and baby, maybe let that magic flow. Our spoken word is all the things you really wanna know. Having a good time on the show, T-Bows and Matty G. Tune in and hit subscribe and join us on the FAP.
Welcome everyone to the Freaking Awesome Podcast. I'm your host Anthony Bowes. Today's episode has been brought to you by CR Sabers for all your saber needs. If you want to channel your inner Jedi, Sith, and or potentially Grey Jedi, I guess you can find that custom saber for wherever you want, and customize it to your style and or get all the best replicas out there. Make sure you check out CR Sabers, and we'll make sure we post up a little bit of link in the show at some point. Before we get going anymore, we of course have a very interesting topic today. So I've put on my best dad sweater and glasses to make myself seem a little bit intelligent, but I have a lot of questions because today's topic is about NFTs. What are they, and why are they so popular? And of course, we've been very, very fortunate, of course, to have Stacey Toy and Gil Laredo and Rob Thompson from NFT Drop here to talk to us today. Guys, welcome. It's been weird to have three people on the show at once, so it's fantastic.
Hey!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. So we're sharing screens with everybody, and hopefully it's an interesting experience and for everybody. I know Rob Forrest couldn't make it via video, but he is here via audio, and that's what's important because he's got a lot of important things to say, no doubt.
Yes, he's so elusive, though. I mean, he's the guy behind the computer, and it's like, even I'm like, I told him, like, come on, get your screen on.
It's like the wizard. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Don't look behind the curtain, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's how the magic happens, right? I mean, you got to keep that those technical people secretive. So,
yeah,
excellent. So, guys, NFTs. We're talking about non-fungible tokens. They're, of course, the newest form of crypto. And I got to ask you, like, you know, here you've obviously started a big company about this. They're extremely popular. People are making millions and millions of dollars selling these. But can you explain what exactly is the NFT? How is this made?
So essentially an NFT, it's an item that's encrypted and it's stored on the blockchain. There's not a possibility once it's minted and it's stored on the blockchain for it to be altered in any kind of way. In the context, in that context, I would say that an NFT is, once it hits the blockchain, it's a one of a kind. The most common NFTs are files like that are, say, music. Well, the most common ones that you hear about, like as far as in the general public, are like art, music, video, and images or whatnot. But there's also other types of uses for NFTs as well.
So it seems like it's very the arts dominated. So all these different type of people are, of course, getting into this. I guess what I'm trying to really understand is, so someone creates an image of some sort, and then of course they want to encrypt it into a blockchain. Yep. And now at this point, like what exactly is involved on trying to encrypt the image?
So usually what happens is, say, like if you use a platform, we'll say like in OpenSea as an example, what happens is, you will enter certain, the basic details, such as the basic details such as the description, titles, any information about like the artist or the person that's actually, or the user that's actually going to onboard that NFT or whatnot. And then, you're going to go through the minting process. And that can be, there's a couple ways to go about that. You can go about that either on, like, say, like Polygon or Matic, where the process for minting is free, or you can also do the minting process over Ethereum, which is the most common or whatnot, but it's also like one of the most expensive routes to go just because of the scaling that Ethereum has to do to to cover all the fees and the bandwidth and all that stuff. So.
Okay, so a lot of this, again, we are talking a form of crypto and blockchain. So is this much like a cryptocurrency where, like, unlike cryptocurrency where you have to mine it and it's a very lengthy process and or expensive process depending on how you go about it, but these images aren't exactly like that, right? It's not like you're mining it, but you are creating a digital copy of this. You're encrypting it, and then you're selling shares of it, or you're like, how exactly?
Well, you can actually you can sell a certain limit. You could sell various quantities of an image. It can be, well, say it's an image or a media file. It can be one. It can be quantities of any quantity that you can imagine. You can basically make the offering for that NFT for.
Okay, all right. So Stacey, jump in here, and you and Gil, give me your pitch on why would I want to get into NFTs.
Well, basically, which kind of answers the question you just had before too, is that you need to look at an NFT. An NFT is an asset. Okay, it's like you going and buying stock in a company that or something, But if you think about it in art, think about the Mona Lisa. There's one Mona Lisa, but maybe you can, I don't know, but I know I cannot afford it. Right.
Right.
So you take the Mona Lisa and you make an NFT out of it, but now it's not unlimited. You can make it unlimited if you want, but like what Rod was trying to express was you can make 20 prints of it. Think about it that way. You can make 8,000, 20,000 prints of it, and then you put them for sale. So when the person is buying, they're buying one image. Okay. But now that image has a serial number. And like we all know, with limited stuff and serial numbers, everything, depending on demand, goes up in value. So now I cannot own a Mona Lisa, but I can own an NFT of a Mona Lisa for $250.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, as the time goes by, it will appreciate in value due to the amount of copies that are out there and who wants to own one. And now you can be reselling it for $2,000, $5,000, $2 million, whatever the market is willing to bear. Same thing with art, or a painting or a statue.
And put it in the metaverse with your real estate. And again, it all just brings the price up.
Well, and also to add, when with that NFT, because you had mentioned something as the relation to crypto, it also has a value that's equal to crypto, like depending on, it can be, for instance, with Gala Games or something, that NFT can be have a value equal to Gala. On Ethereum or on OpenSea, it can have a value equal to like Ethereum or a certain percentage of Ethereum.
Exactly. Okay. And now the other thing with NFTs is not just an image, it comes with benefits. So the value of an NFT and the future growth of value of the NFT is really based on what value was given with it or what benefits were given to it. Like one benefit you can see is like one print. So if you buy it, you can print it once, It could come with apparels. It could come with, if it's a singer, it could be a download in a CD or a download in a vinyl if they paid enough for it to be able to have something to hang on the wall,
Absolutely.
Now, if you don't claim those benefits, right?
So you don't print it. Say you have one print and you don't print.
Right. You don't ask for the apparels and you resell it. You're reselling it with all those rights. So it's worth more than just an image by itself.
Okay. So
they all vary. So you got to look at the benefits. Some singers are selling some of their royalties.
Yes.
They're streaming royalties through an NFT. So if you own an NFT, you can own like 2.5% of his royalty on the streaming side of things.
You can even stake the NFTs.
This is really interesting. So this is basically like you're almost purchasing stock in the artist then. So if you're looking at someone like I believe who we have Snoop Dogg. I believe Snoop Dogg is doing NFT stuff, right? Yeah. So if he was selling royalties based on his music, then say if you're purchasing and you got like 2% of his royalties, you're essentially buying stock in this artist.
He actually is doing it now. He's actually doing that now.
Exactly. I mean, and this is the avenue of the world that NFTs have been able to open up to them. Now an artist can be an artist without a label and utilize NFTs for his album sales.
Okay.
You know?
Now I gotta say, so when I first heard about this, I mean, this was really boggling my mind because I couldn't understand why someone would pay $300,000 for nothing. Like you mean, what I mean is you don't actually have anything physically in your hand. It's not like we were going back to the Mona Lisa. Like you're not getting a physical version of the Mona Lisa. You're getting a digital picture of the Mona Lisa that you could take offline. Like, I mean, you can go online and find the Mona Lisa and blow it up and digitally, you know, make sure that it's poster size or full size, and you can print it, and it would cost you next to nothing.
You're right, but you know what?
It's not coming from the real artist.
No, you know what it won't let you do? It won't let you put it in your metaverse. Okay. So your metaverse home doesn't have the Mona Lisa hanging.
Correct.
Okay. Now I feel like with going something like metaverse, I feel like we're starting to talk DC and Marvel. I'm waiting for superheroes now in the metaverse, right?
I agree with you. Yes.
It's getting so interesting. So I like the concept because, again, if we're talking about NFTs from a stock point value, I think that's really interesting because not a lot of people are necessarily in a position to purchase stock or start playing in the stock market. Whereas you can go something a little bit more along the line, the NFTs. And if you happen to have the money to invest into someone that you know that you're a personal fan of or favorite, or you personally find that value in, you know, you look at someone like Snoop Dogg, who has always sold a really well amount of records and stuff.
Absolutely.
So, you know, there's money that you know will come back and or you can resell at some point.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. So that's starting to make sense. Now, I guess the next question I have is, again, when we're looking at someone like an artist like Snoop Dogg, and he's selling, let's say, songs. I mean, I could go on to iTunes and pay $1.99 for that song, you know.
But not like his new album that he just released is only available as an NFT on the Sandbox metaverse.
Well, it's actually like on Gala. It's on Gala, and I think that the way that he's actually making it possible for everybody to make some type of revenue on that, because what he's doing is he's actually sharing the royalties, which I believe is 35% to the owners. I took one, and then also he's collecting 50%, just like any other artist, like Maroon 5, I believe, is in the mix. I believe that Kings of Leon is in the mix or whatnot.
Okay.
So when you look at it in that context, I think it's different than the model that you expressed. The other thing too is that, you know, we're not in the day and time where we have a CD in the car or anything like this. So decentralization, as far as when it comes to music and media, I think is going to be pivotal going forward. And I think the Gala situation actually really spearheaded that over the last few weeks.
That's the shirt that Snoop Dogg I had on during the Super Bowl that he opened up, I guess. I didn't see it personally, but that's what I read in all the news, because he was, you know, announcing his partnership or whatever with Gala Music. So
correct.
Okay. All right. All right. So, oh my God, there's so many questions here. I mean, again, you're kind of looking at like the lay person here, right? I mean, I don't generally like, so my wife does stock investing. It's something I don't do, right? I just kind of look at it and I'm thinking, okay, so here's an interesting concept. You've got someone who's basically created something like a Kickstarter meets stocks and crammed it together in the hopes to create a new form of revenue for people, and or valuable artwork. I guess so. When you're looking at, so let's go to another medium, and let's say art. So someone creates a picture of a smiling cat, hypothetically. And they now encrypt it, they mint it, and they're now, where do they go to now sell this?
You go to places like OpenSea, you go to places like Binance, there's places like Gala, There's many mediums. I think even Coinbase is about to launch their NFT platform as well. So there's definitely a lot of places to facilitate, showing your art or putting your art on display or your collections.
Okay.
Mhm.
How does one become, I guess, popular selling these things? I mean, I guess it comes back to like any type of musician or artist or storyteller or writer. I mean, how do these take off?
Mhm.
Well,
Is
again,
that the magic question? Like,
you are 100% correct. And the reality is, like I was saying before, is based on the benefits that are tied into the NFT.
Mhm.
That's really where you. If you're going to do, let's say, a picture of a cat, and that's all is a picture of a cat, you're probably going to try to hit the market selling at like $5.
Okay.
But now, if you have something that has benefits to it, let it be download of one song, download of a whole album,
Hidden content.
yeah, hidden content, stuff like that.
Even donating money to a nonprofit or something like
Right.
that,
Okay.
every sale.
Right, like out of the gross sales and stuff like that. Now you're talking about $250 per image.
Okay.
You
All
see?
right.
So that's really how it's really about. It's about the benefits that come with the NFT.
Yes. But being
Okay.
a celebrity and having a name on it, that always helps, of course.
Right, they have more followers and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So if they announce it, then everybody's going to go check it out. That's the other
Yes.
way, to get it out there.
And that's also where I feel like we, have a very good dynamic as opposed to a lot of different other NFT companies, because other ones, it seems like they have all the tech people, which is obviously the most important thing, but they don't have like the publicity and marketing aspect of stuff, or a good business person to help make sure everything is guided properly, getting along with timelines and things like that.
Right.
Has been the demise of, quite a few NFT companies already.
Right.
And hearing the horror stories, even just from, our own publicists that I've worked with, some of them that failed, it's all basically the same common kind of thing. So again, I really do appreciate having, this team all together, because that's ultimately, what makes us stand out. And I think makes all the stuff that we put out so much
Absolutely.
better. We're just better.
Absolutely.
It does. And we also add marketing to our NFTs, which this other companies don't.
Yes.
So we put the word out there so we can try to bring as many people to the marketplace as possible. Also, you can look at it this way. Like the places that Rod was saying before, imagine them being like art studios, and they all have their own art show. So what this really did is bring art investing out front again.
Okay.
And now everybody in a different form is investing in art. Let it be music, let it be images, let it be benefits,
film,
movies, anything. People are investing in it. So instead of people going to the studio now and look at the art and try to buy it physically, they prefer to do it online electronically.
But then the NFT conferences and meetup and greet ups all over the place. The dynamic is great. Everybody really has a camaraderie. I think that it's definitely something that is really cool, because then when you have that dynamic, it seems like everyone helps, to support, and also
it's very community driven.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. So it's like young kids, and I mean, business nowadays is like blue hair and pajama pants still, but these guys make way more money than I do. So it's like,
Don't even get me started. When there's a 7-year-old that's making $2.7 billion, that it's driving me insane.
Kind of like, where did I go wrong?
The Ryan's world.
I was just going to tell him that NFT for singles.
Yes.
Why don't you tell them about that? That's a perfect example of, another function of an NFT.
So I know that they've dropped a couple of them, but the one that I was reading about has, when you're an NFT owner of this one picture, whether it be a heart or whatever it is, it comes with the exclusive into these dating sites. So like the one I was looking at is for dating expensive older men, kind of like,
Go on.
As a
you get
membership.
that. The membership. So you get the membership,
Right.
as
Stacey, have
part of
you
the
been looking
NFT.
at the Russian sites?
No,
I didn't even know. I didn't even know about that one. That's crazy.
no, but I am interested to seeing, because it's literally sometimes like, I joke around with these guys, but I'm kind of serious. It's like whoever can come up with the dumbest idea, because like that's kind of what I mean. There's toilet paper in the metaverse. Like, blows my mind that people
Really?
would pay for toilet paper to take an imaginary dump. You know what I mean?
And it's an NFT, both of them.
Yes.
Okay,
And then you can be buried in the metaverse cemetery, which has been taking off. It's about $900 a plot, the ones I was looking at. Like,
so wait a minute. This is now bringing a whole new ball game of questions. So if someone has a piece of toilet paper and or roll of toilet paper that is for sale, so you've got no physical toilet paper for a virtual dump. If I took a virtual dump, can I sell that imaginary dump?
You gotta you gotta understand the toilet paper is an NFT.
Yeah.
Okay.
The actual dump is an NFT. So yes, you can sell your toilet paper, and you can buy it, and you can sell your dump and buy dump.
Yeah.
Could I sell
NFTs?
Could I sell their toilet paper that I have purchased and my dump as a box set?
Yeah.
There you go. Now you're
as a
talking
bundle.
bundles.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
As a bundle.
Bundle.
Bundle. Okay, so this is clearly there are ridiculous ideas out there that someone is going to cash in on.
They all work.
So my father had a really interesting idea, just because I thought it was absolutely ridiculous at the time. But as I've gotten older and I look around, I'm thinking, wait a minute, this may be a good idea.
You could see into the future.
Right, exactly. So my dad had said that he would like to start a cuddle for hire business.
There's already one.
Is there really?
A new story on it is like the one girl I know. I think she's in San Francisco. She'll come over and they hug and cuddle, and there's nothing more, but it's just for that. I saw a news story on it about 2 years ago.
This is amazing. So my dad had brought this idea of maybe, I think it's like close to 5 or 10 years ago, that he thought that was, and we thought he was absolutely ridiculous, and he was doing it to bug my mom or something. He's like, no, I'll rent out my services where I show up at rich old ladies' houses, and they will cuddle them and hang out with them and even like sleep next to them until they go to sleep, and then I'm out of there. And I'm just like, that. I mean, I don't even. You're so close to being a gigolo at this point. Like, I don't even know where this is going.
Like those girls in Japan.
Yes.
What are they called? There's like when you go to Japan, you get.
I know. It's like in the tip of my tongue.
Not a geisha.
Geisha, yes.
A geisha,
yes.
But what
the
do
geisha
they do?
girls?
Tell them.
Oh yeah, no. They like if you get the penthouse with the geisha girls, when you get as soon as you walk in, they just come up and stuff. They start undressing you. You get like 4 girls, and they cater to you and bathe you, everything. When
they lay next to you.
When it comes to time to go to bed, they go to bed and lay with you. All 4 of them. You tell them to go away, and they'll tell you no.
Yeah,
they can't go away. It's crazy.
It's all part of the cost. That is weird.
Respected.
That is weird. Now I've seen some very crazy things that come out of Japan that I can't even believe people pay for. But
the red light district in Amsterdam, they're a union. You know what I mean? Like it's very. It's interesting. It really is interesting.
It's true.
Not to drag along, but I'll tell you a real quick bit here is Japan. In Japan, it's quite legal to have a mistress. And all it is negotiation. It's a business negotiation. So there's a contract up front of what she's going to do with him and what he's going to do and what he's going to do for the wife. So he signs the contract. His wife has to sign the contract, and the mistress signs the contract.
This is like legalized polygamy.
It's an everyday thing.
Sister wives.
They go in contract for 12 months, for 2 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's normal.
Don't tell my wife that this exists. God knows what I'm going to be walking into.
All I was thinking, Anthony, was like,
or a
what am I going to
gato.
do with two? Like, really, I could barely
Right.
live one.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, get on the same cycle and try to bomb a country every 28 days. You know what I mean?
I would have to very specifically write that contract to be like, one makes me a pie and the other one cleans the dishes.
There you
Yeah.
go. Now you're
That's
thinking. Now
specific.
you're thinking.
Right?
It's all an NFT, man. Sounds like
Right.
my mom and girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Nice,
All
Mike.
rolled into one. All
Right.
rolled into one. Yeah. Okay, so NFTs. This is still. I feel like I'm actually starting to understand this a little bit more. I think there's
Good.
just still some stumbling blocks here that I guess I'm amazed. So how did this come about? Does anybody know how this whole NFT idea came about?
Rod, that's your
Yes.
part.
I mean, I would say that really, over the last couple years, as initially, we the crypto market that's been around for the last 10 years, that's really, I think, what sparked it. Then I think over the last couple of years, individuals, businesses or whatnot, we're looking for ways other than like we're talking about the music industry. People were looking for ways where, everybody could be involved in the revenue, versus the way it is or has been over the last umpteen years, in terms of everything is centralized. SoundCloud is centralized. iTunes is centralized. Spotify is centralized or whatnot. So I think that, like, whether it be art, whether it be music or any other type of media, or even real estate, as an example, I think that's it. I think over the last couple of years, that's how this whole NFT thing started to kind of come about. And I think OpenSea really probably was one of I would say, like, one of the pioneers, as well as Binance, was to follow. Now it's like everybody's in this space or whatnot.
Right. And let me add to that a little bit there. You see, it had to be created to open up a market. Okay. Now everybody is in Amazon. Now, we talked about images and we talked about different benefits. But let's say I own this mug and I sell my mugs, all over the place, right?
Yep.
So what I can do now is I can make an NFT out of this mug, and now I can sell the NFT, and the benefit is that I ship you a mug.
So you get.
So if you buy the NFT,
so this makes sense.
In other words, I sold my cup with an NFT. NFT is a way to put in order, to put a marketing, to open up a store. Think about it that way.
Right.
OpenSea and other companies like that are the marketplace where people go and see all the vendors to see what they got.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the way you want to think about how it all works there.
And on the surface, a lot of, the general public, we just, for the most part, the general public is they just hear about the art stuff and the crazy, like situations where, at Sotheby's, a piece of art was burned and then, now it was turned into an NFT. But, I think, over time, and especially over the last year or so, the other use cases, I think, are starting to come to the forefront, when it comes to how NFTs are used. I mean, NFTs in the context of real estate, as an example. We want to transfer a deed from you to Gil, or from Gil to Stacey or whatnot. Well, that's all basically now able to be done in the way of a smart contract, which the smart contract is what makes the NFT. That's the contract address that puts that all together, so to speak.
Does this save on, like, so if someone wanted to do that, like if I had a house that I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you this house, here's the deed, you're going to give me X number of dollars for this transaction. Is this like a legal way of kind of cutting out the middleman of lawyers at this point?
A lawyers, sales agencies,
fraud. It cuts down on fraud.
Now you can get a loan in the crypto world without a bank.
Yes.
So you save money on that. you can sell your property without a real estate agent.
Now
You can save on that too.
And get your insurance on there too.
Everything.
So if you were to look at getting a loan then from these people, like, would you have to prove that you have got a healthy NFT portfolio to do so? Like, people are like, oh no, they're good at trading. I see they've got levels, and I've got 2 Picassos and a Snoop Dogg.
Yes, that's a big one.
Now you're talking, but it all varies. I mean, I'm sure if you're going to have like a prime type of return interest rate to pay, you probably have to show some assets. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So the
rabbit
hole gets deeper.
It's just like the real world. It's the same thing.
Yeah, he's taking a dive into decentralized finance now.
That's right. That's right. Yep. So I got to tell you, when I first heard about this, I was just like, this sounds like a product and or a service that was thought of a stoner. That he was like, oh my God, this is an amazing grilled cheese sandwich. And the guy looks over and goes, hey man, I'd like some of that grilled cheese sandwich. He's like, I'll sell it to you.
Yes.
But you can't have it. You can only smell it.
Yep. Stoners are smart, man. They just gotta understand it,
I think this is like, I'm just like, there's no way someone had just come up with this idea saying, I want to sell people something, but give them nothing, but make them feel like it has a value.
Yes.
And I'm just like, I think this is how love started.
Yeah.
Right. But if you think of anything and everything, really, anything is worth what we say is worth.
Yes.
It's supply and demand, no matter what type of product. If there's a product, if it's an idea, if it's a phrase, if it's a song, if it's an image, we decide what we're going to give value to, right? I mean,
right. And the end user decides if they feel is valuable, in the NFT space. And I think that's what makes this space different than, the traditional brick and mortar or, the just the general, that general way that we would, acquire an item or a product or service or whatnot,
Think about stocks. You buy stocks, but you only see it on your computer.
100%. Yes.
But you only see the numbers.
That's right.
Yeah, you don't own it.
Someone has determined what that value is.
Right? But you see, when I buy what you might consider stocks in crypto, I'm buying NFTs. Not only that I have the investment, I actually have the NFT to look at it anytime I want.
Okay. So you have electronic proof that you have invested into a limited or unlimited number of one thing.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You choose what you buy. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't buy nothing that is not limited, but that's okay. That's just my choice.
Well, and that's what I was kind of wondering, right? I mean, you would want something that is like a 1 of 100 versus unlimited, because then unlimited would kind of hold no real value.
Yeah, but I don't think you're also thinking big enough. When you're buying an NFT, 1 out of 8,000, it's 8,000 in the world.
Yeah.
8,000 against 7.7 billion people. 8,000. What is really?
Yeah. So, I mean, 8,000 doesn't seem like a high number when you look at it globally versus.
And that's what you got to look. This market is global.
Yeah.
So it's not one country or anything. It's everywhere.
But I guess the question is, who is the governing body who's now placing value? I know you said like we as the people do.
There's no governing body.
It's decentralized.
So if let's go back to that smiling cat picture. And if this cat just happened to have 3 years, then you're like, well, that's rare. Like, especially if it was a real cat, and you're like, here's a cat with 3 years. That's a picture of a cat with 3 years. I'm not going to give away my cat with 3 years because, first of all, that's weird, and second of all, like, it's my cat. But the concept of a 3-year cat, and you said, I'm going to take a picture of my 3-year cat, and I'm going to sell 100 copies of that. Or I'm going to put up an NFT for 100 copies of that picture. You can print it.
Would be rare.
You can show people a weird picture of 3 years on a cat.
You're right. But you still.
Who's going to say that's worth something?
No, but that's my point. Whoever wants to have an image of a cat with 3 years. But you see, you're thinking too hard. Your cat has to have 3 years. My cat only has 2. Because you see, a young man from India was able to make $1 million selling his own selfies as NFTs.
Yes.
So you see, it's a matter of
He did.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
He made $1 million selling
Yes.
selfies of himself.
Yes.
Because there was a story behind each one of the selfies too. So
Right,
like,
but-
of his hardships and whatever.
But
he marketed it himself. I mean,
Right. And he was an average looking. He was an average
Yeah.
guy. He wasn't like this good looking guy, this Fabio. He was none of that. You know, skinny kid, you know.
Yeah,
I
This is
tip my hat
breaking
to
my
him.
mind.
I do too.
I tip my hat to him, you
Hey.
know.
Hey, George Rock. I
George
love
from the
Rock.
I love George. Hey George, thanks for jumping
He's
by the
from
show.
Canada
Uh,
too.
Hey.
This is my fellow Canadian podcaster
Hey.
from Meet Me for Coffee podcast. You need to sell your own selfies. We all need to be selling our own selfies if that's the
But-
case.
but-
I mean, I want $1 million.
But look at it. So now think about $1 million, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how many he sold or how much he sold, but I'm just gonna say $5. Maybe $1 he did.
Okay.
1 million people bought it because it was cheap enough out of 7.7 billion people.
Mhm.
Okay. So,
You see-
here's the next good question I have then. So
Yeah.
he has sold an NFT. He's made $1 million.
No,
Not
not
on
one. Not one, a whole bunch.
Okay, so he's made several $million.
No, he only made one out of a whole bunch that he sold.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh,
I don't know if
okay.
he sold 8,000. I don't know if he sold 1 million of them.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
regardless, out of his selfies, he
That much.
he
money.
sold them for $1 million.
And then
Okay.
he also gets the residuals from the benefits of whenever somebody else sells one of those whatevers, he gets a percentage of every one of those sales for the resale.
Royalties.
Now, how does
yeah.
that happen?
Like
How
royalty.
does that happen?
Indefinitely. That's what's written in the smart contract. It's whatever is decided upon on both parties.
So every time that NFT is transferred from one person to another, that, and there's a contract address that's associated with it. So when that item is transferred, then basically that's when a royalty kicks in. Then when the next person gets it and decides, hey, I want to sell it to Joe down the street, then another royalty kicks in. It's indefinite.
Okay, now bear with me because this has brought up a really interesting question. So the man has sold we'll say a photo. He sold it for $1.
Yep.
He's made millions, but essentially he sold it for $1 per person.
Mhm.
So there's two parts to this question. The first one is, if now let's say I bought one of those for $1 and I want to sell it to my brother.
Mhm.
Do I sell it? Like, can I essentially sell it for $2?
Mhm.
And he's like, yeah, okay, I'll buy it for $2. A kickback goes back to the original, but does it still hold a value now of $1, of $2?
$2.
Okay,
You
so
sold it for $2. Now the value is $2. So your brother can try to resell it for $20 if he can.
Yeah.
You see, there's
Okay.
no limit, but every time it's sold, he will get 10%.
Mhm.
so the initial person will get 10%.
Yeah. The
Well,
artist, yes.
Well, yeah. However, it's worked out.
right.
Okay.
Each
Okay.
platform is different.
Whoever sold it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Whoever sold it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike is asking, is it reflective of pyramid scheme? No, I don't think it is. I think it's more of you. Again, this comes back to what you were saying of we determine the value. So if Mike gets this photo and he sells it now for $20, someone buys it for $20. Now that photo is worth $20. So
Right.
essentially, it could continue to build and build and build.
Or
Now-
it can go down and down and down.
That's
I
right.
mean,
So someone's just
again,
like, no, I'm not going to buy
it's
$20, but I'll give you $18. And you're like,
how much
yeah,
interested
okay.
are the people in it is really what it
Okay.
is.
I mean,
So-
some of Snoop Dogg's that he originally sold for $75, like they're going from like 240,000 to 1 million. Those are the ones on crypto.com. I
Wow.
mean, there was like 3,000 of them sold. They sold for $75, and it's just literally like a 3-second loop of like a picture, and he says something, and it's just over and over for like 3 times, and like that's it for $1 million. And the other ones are, but you can go on crypto.com and actually look at all the prices that for the people that are willing to sell, because each one is numbered. But not everybody's reselling them. But again, if you can get something for $75 and they go out so fast and sell out, like,
Yeah.
the one with like we were talking about before with the royalties with Nas, the 90s rapper Nas. I mean, he did 2 drops, and the first one and the second one all sold out in like 4 minutes and 7 minutes or something like that. I mean, it was, and I mean, we were trying to buy some too, and it was like instantly gone. Like we were waiting on the countdown.
Right. From the moment you hit that button, right?
Yep. Yeah. I was like,
you hit that button, you go online.
Okay.
By the time
I do have a
cashier, there might not be none left.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is.
I have a follow-up to that first question now. So again, we're talking about that image that, let's say, Mike has now bought for $20.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else who has a version of this photo, it still holds a value of 1 if they haven't sold it, or does it now move up because the highest person says it's $20?
It's 20.
Everybody's photo basically becomes now 20.
Well, Anthony, think about it. If you were the owner of the $1 and somebody sold one for 20, why would you accept 5?
Yeah.
Yes. But is there somewhere in a market that now says, whoa, Anthony sold that photo for $20. Now all photos of that are worth $20. No. Is there something actually reflects that?
No.
Okay. So if nobody ever knew that I sold that for 20,
right?
Oh, no, actually, hold on. I stand to be corrected. Yeah, the one thing is because it's decentralized. Yes, someone could actually look in the Ether scan or Polygon scan or whatnot, and they could look at the transaction or whatnot and see that, oh, it sold for $20 or it sold for $100. So yeah, that actually could happen.
So, Rod, you're saying that somebody can research them correctly?
Somebody could that's the one thing about it being decentralized. Someone could look that up, just like, you could look up, say, a crypto transaction and determine like this asset being cryptocurrency, or this asset being an NFT item, because that's how they would do it for real estate too.
Okay. So, right. but it takes, does it take someone with a particular set of knowledge and or know what to look for to do that? Or is that like any layperson could be like, okay, I have this stock, here's a centralized database or a decentralized database.
Yeah, anybody,
I can look up that item.
That's what's great about it, is that anyone has access to that information. Is public.
Yeah, everything's transparent too, which is even better.
Okay, so that's great, because again, if I have one copy of that photo and I found out Mike now sold that same photo for $50, I could be like, okay, what is the current value of this photo? And you find the transaction, say someone sold it for 50. You're like, well, shit, I'll sell it for 60.
Yeah, right, there you go.
Right, because you got to understand, each one of those NFTs is part of a collection. Okay. So if I minted 8,000 of them, all those 8,000 is one collection. So they all have a different serial number. So they're all, on their own, but they're all tied together. So when you search yours, you're searching the whole collection, is the answer that they're giving you. Okay. And now I want to go back one question, the governing body. I think I got a good way to explain it. The way what governs crypto is the smart contract. So the smart contract is the governing body in the crypto world. And each smart contract is created non-equally. They're all different. So whatever the smart contract to whatever you're doing states, that's law. Now you could have another NFT in that smart contract doesn't say anything. There's no royalties or anything like that, or unlimited copies, unlimited prints, or whatever. The smart contract is the one, like Rod was saying earlier, that says what you can do and what you cannot do.
Okay. Now,
if you can resell it, it'll say it on the contract. If it doesn't say on the contract, you can't resell it, because the contract will not know what to do once you try to change the name. You see?
Okay. So a technical question then for Rod. How does one ensure that someone would only print off one copy of that item? I'm
sorry, can you come again?
So say if I, again, we're going to talk about the picture of the 3-eared cat, just because I seem to want to keep rolling with that. If I turned around and said, you can only physically print one copy of the 3-eared cat, how is that tracked?
Essentially, like basically once that item was minted, and then once that item was sold, then there's a contract address that's associated with that, and then there's another kind of ID that is associated with that transaction, which is a TX ID. Between those two, you would know that, and not only that, it's like you know, the smart contract would actually be able to control, like, as far as the transfer of that item. If it's only supposed to go to one person or whatnot, you know, it's just going to go to one. It's just going to basically be locked or confined to just one person. If the smart contract for that item was limited or confined to that, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So like it's written in the smart contract, and once it's printed, that everything is logged on the blockchain. And so in the smart contract is all coded. It's literally like taking the contract that you decide on, and it's coded that way. So you need special coders to go through
a program.
But then when it's printed once, then that option doesn't come up again. Like there's not even an option.
So we're essentially saying that when you go onto your computer and you're looking at your NFT, there is, if this is a printable item, there would be a print now button. Or something that once you click it, it is now grayed out. You can't do it again. Okay, so
yeah, that could be that could be disabled. That doesn't mean that every person, you know, does that per se when they're on board, but that can be, you know, that can be done. There is some aspect to a digital, with respect to digital rights management with that.
Right. And the other thing you got to think about, Anthony, is just what we were talking about before. The smart contract is the governing body. So that NFT is not going to do anything that the governing body doesn't say to do. So when you want to print it, you're actually is being approved by the smart contract. So if the smart contract has a 1, that's just one print, and you did that, then it's going to say 0.
Yes.
Moving forward.
Right, like,
and anytime you try to do it again, the smart contract is going to say, no, we can't do that.
Well, I think a good example too would be you know, to kind of get to this would be, say that, you know, a person bought an NFT. We'll say audio or video, right? And then let's say that, you know, another person decided, oh, I'm going to take a screenshot, right? Well, they can take a screenshot, or they can, you know, record that audio, so to speak. But at the end of the day, whoever initiated or onboarded that content on the blockchain, basically it's stuck there, right? So in other words, if somebody decided, oh, well, I'm smart, I'm just going to record that, I'm just going to take a video of that, I'm just going to take a picture of that, and I'm going to put it back on, I'm going to sell it myself, it won't happen. It's not possible. Okay. Because it's encrypted. It's encrypted on the blockchain. There's no way to basically duplicate that.
So, and Rod, correct me if I'm wrong, but too, don't some of the programs, like when you try to take a screenshot, like the watermark comes up?
That's true too. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes, that happens. That happens. You know, but for a lot of I mean, I do see where a lot of users out there, sometimes they don't, you know, they might not, you know, be privy to that. But yeah, you know, the veteran NFT collector, definitely, they're doing that for sure.
Okay. Yeah. So there's definitely, okay. Hopefully that answers my question. So I guess the last question I have about that is, again, is there a form of tech help and or issues that, say, if I go to print something off and it says, okay, you're printing, your balance is 0, but then it fails to print, like, how do you turn around and then say, hey, I went to print it, my printer failed?
Right. Yeah. There's lots of, I mean, that's the one thing about, like, with some of these platforms, the more popular platforms, whether it be Binance or, you know, OpenSea, or even, you know, even Gala, like, you know, perfect example, you know, when the Snoop stash box over just before the Super Bowl was for sale, you know, on Gala, and everybody was trying to get there at the same time to buy it. Some people had made several attempts. Some people had actually made the order went through, but they're like, where's my stash box? You know, and really, with those companies, the popular companies, the Galas, the OpenSeas, the Binances, you know, they have I would say they have great customer service and support that's on top of that stuff. So, you know, nothing ever gets lost, so-called, in the metaverse or, you know, in cyberspace, so to speak. because there's definitely, with the popular platforms, there's definitely support to back up their platform and the services that are held on here.
All right. Excellent. Well, that's been really informative, guys. I guess the very last question I have for you guys then is from NFT Drop's point of view, like, how do people get to you? You were saying originally that you've got a marketing aspect of things, and that you are able to reach out and bring people in. And is that come from both sides? Like, if someone's looking to invest, you would be able to guide them, or is it more of like, if you're looking to sell, then you're bringing them in to walk them through the process?
Yeah, it's more basically for clients.
Okay.
So if there's an artist that want to, do an NFT and put it out there and sell it, well, we're the company to be able to take it and create it and work with him and market it, mint it, and then,
we'll even
it.
get them the graphic artist or whatever they need, for us to complete it. So even just having the good ideas and whatnot, then they can reach out to us. And we have our Instagram, which is at NFT Drop LLC. Same with Facebook. Or you can get any one of us. We're all on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn, Twitter, all that fun stuff.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, guys, it's been really informative. You've definitely cleared up a lot of things for me. I'm sure at some point I'll probably end up having more questions as well as NFT continues to go on. I'd love to have you guys all back again and to maybe rediscuss and talk about some more things. I would love to, of course, go over maybe some of the crazier things that you guys have come across, especially like virtual toilet paper. I mean, you never know what people are going to come up with. So
yeah, we'll get some of our clients on your show too, so we could talk. They could talk about their NFTs dropping from our company.
Yeah, it'd be amazing just to hear from the person who is actually creating to see like what the process has been like for them. What kind of perks did they give? Or what kind of like background information is behind these things that might make a successful NFT. So, again, it's been wonderful having you guys here, and I would love to bring you guys back again, maybe a little closer to the summer when it's hopefully a little warmer out and everything is becoming liquid and flowing, and we'll see how things are progressing with NFTs.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Yes. Thank you so much, Anthony.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you all of you for putting a little bit of time aside to try to help explain this. As I said, it's been kind of a new thing in the world that clearly is generating a lot of buzz. There's a lot of I think clouds and issues around it. And of course, the more you try to research it online, sometimes the more confusing these things get, because you literally start falling down the crypto rabbit hole. And it's kind of nice to have things broken down a little bit more simple. So I really appreciate what you guys have done. And I thank you very much for being on the show.
Anytime.
Thank you, Anthony.
Excellent. Thank you. And for any of our listeners who are on the road and are listening to this episode after the live, we'll make sure we post up some information and some social media links. So anybody needs to get a hold of Stacey, Gil, or Rod, we can do that. All right. Thanks, guys, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too. I'll talk to you soon, Anthony. You're the best.
Sounds great. Take care, everyone.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Perfect.